Welcome back for another book review. Today we're talking about this one. So this is Fairy Stones, an exploration of the folklore and fairies associated with stones and crystals by Ceri Norman. So like the title suggests, this talks about crystals for fairies. It connects it to a lot of myths and just kind of the general belief of the Fae, and it goes through a lot of different crystals in the first kind of major part, and then it also goes over fairy rock formation cluster things and then it also has a little bit on just meditations and chakras. It kind of downfalls from the first part. So I gave this one a 3, but it's like a tentative 3 because, okay, the major section where it's talking about the various stones, it is a good research thing. It's got a lot of really good information. It included so much that I did not anticipate, and usually these kind of guidebooks are honestly some of the most boring things I read. Most people aren't reading these cover to cover. This is actually not that bad. The information in there's really good. It's got a lot of different belief systems represented. I was super surprised at how much Norse was included in there, because that's usually not a thing. You're not gonna see this and think the Norse. You know, that's just, it's not gonna happen. And it was there. It had a lot. It had for Scottish versus Welsh, and then of course just randomly and then the Norse is there. It was so good. It was really, really good. I loved that part. We were doing great. I'm like, hell yeah, it's gonna be a 4, maybe even a 5 at this point. We were flying high. And then we got to the next part, and then it was these weird crystal formations, and it was okay, this is a little weird. And it didn't have the same vibe as the last chapter. This is kind of really weird. And it was okay, whatever. And then it moved on to more random, and you're the chakras and meditations, and you're okay, so you're just, it started to feel we're just fluffing the word count. You ran out of stuff. This book could have been half the size. Just embrace it, you know? It's from the publisher that has the small books. Just embrace it. Maybe they had a word count requirement. If it's not part of the pagan portals, you gotta have a certain word count. But it progressively kept getting worse and worse. And you're okay, I guess, whatever. And then we come to the part that I in the split instant was you can go to a 1-star, you suck, I hate you, I'm never reading anything of your work again. And I was okay, maybe don't be such a drama queen, but also, it is one of the biggest pet peeves I think I have. And I have a lot of pet peeves. If you've watched my reviews for a while, I have a lot. I have a lot of pet peeves. Don't include a conclusion, because of course this doesn't have it either. You know, if you just randomly end your book, it's kind of obnoxious. That has this, but that's a meh kind of a pet peeve. And not including sources. It's another pet peeve of mine. And you know, sizing of books sometimes is one that I get a little annoyed at. But there's certain things that I'm I know it's just a me thing, but this one I think is my reigning top tier, you're the worst, and I don't know that I can ever truly support you, and now I question the publishing house entirely, and it really bothers me. And so because the other part was so good, that's the only reason it's staying up, and it didn't drop to a 1 for this, because I really hate it. What is it, you might be asking? What is this atrocious thing? So on page 217, which is weird, by the way, putting the disclaimer at the end of the book is an interesting stylistic choice. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Usually it's the beginning of the book, the very, publication pages, or it's before the herb section or something is the disclaimer. But no, it's at the end. But in the disclaimer, the information given as part of this book is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes. If you're gonna write a nonfiction, spiritual book, a religious book, and you put it's for entertainment purposes, I got an issue. We got some beef, because why are you doing that? Because again, some of the worst books I've read have that, and it's if you can't stand behind your work, why should I as the reader? And I don't know if it's the publishing house. I don't think I've seen that in any other book from this publisher. This is the Moon Books. They do the Pagan Portals, they do some other ones. I don't think I've ever seen that disclaimer in there. So, granted, I don't think I have one right now on my shelves, but I I read every page, so like I'm pretty confident I've never seen that on their pages before. Could be wrong, but also like I don't know, it's just like I've seen it in other ones. Like I think it's Adams Media is the publishing house that had that a lot, like the Knot book, the Moon book. They used to be some of my more popular videos for a while there, and then the worst book ever has just been reigning top dog ever since. But like this just takes away everything that you have said in your book. If you cannot stand behind it and you're making an informational, again, religious, spiritual book, and then you put it's for entertainment purposes, I don't trust you. You've lost me as a reader. The publishing house is losing me as like a person who's going to buy from them total, because again, for entertainment purposes, why is it for entertainment? Why is it not just educational? That makes sense. That's a good disclaimer. And like not to be treated for like medical stuff, like go see your doctor. Don't like that warning makes sense. Like legally, yeah. We're telling you that like this thing, if you put this rock next to this candle, it's gonna heal you. Like, but also bro, like we're not telling you to do medical stuff. Like probably also do that and see your doctor. That one makes sense. That's a good disclaimer. Why are you telling me it's for entertainment purposes? Entertainment purposes is going to Disney or to Universal or to like Dollywood, or like you're reading a fiction book, which they don't put disclaimers. I'm not going to be able to go over here to my fiction book that I'm going to be recording today. I'm not going to pick this up and be like, ah yes, it's for entertainment purposes only. Why is that in a non-fiction book? Big red flag. So honestly, it really tore down, and I had to sit and analyze how good the other part was in comparison for that line alone, because I need you to stand by your work, and that is not how you do that. So anyways, all of that to say, like, I had mixed feelings about this book, but the first major section is actually really, really good. So I would recommend this book if you are interested, obviously, in crystals, you want to learn more about them. Ironically also, it's a pretty decent book for getting random bits for the Norse and just like kind of general Celtic regions. Like it's got a lot of really good information in that first major section that you can get a lot from, not just on the stones. And then like obviously, of course, if you're interested in the Fae and the fairies and all of that, you're gonna have some stuff in here too. But yeah, it's got a lot of really good information in that major section. The rest of it just kind of meh. But that section was good. So anyways, I would love to know your thoughts. If that is a big pet peeve for you as well, like, I don't know. I know that it's like a random thing to be like super like pissed about, but also like why? So anyways, I'd love to know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. A huge thank you to my patrons. If you would like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it's patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. And until next time, blessed be.